Welcome back, mi gente. This is Hecho at the market. Today we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Maria from Texas Waxmelts. Welcome, Maria, to our
Hi,
podcast.
thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, today we're going to be talking about room fresheners, I guess. But before we actually get really deep into how you make it and all that, what is it that inspired you to make this product, like, or start as a business with melts or car fresheners?
A lot of things inspire me. Honestly, it was my kid, my home. There's a lot of products out there in the world, basically that you don't know what they have. So me knowing what they have and you know w- what it entails to make them, it kind of inspired me to just bring them to El Paso and start making my own. To have them in my home, have my home, my car, everything smell good. They last.
They do. They do last. I bought one like long time ago. I'm barely at the end, so I was like getting ready to the next market, get the refill part of it. So as we have here on our table some of the products that you have
Mhm.
available, can you explain to us what is it that we see here?
So we do have our wax melt, our regular wax melts. These you put them in your warmer, 3 to 4 hours. Turn off the warmer, and you're good. You're gonna smell. You're gonna keep the scent last and fresh. Then we have our car diffuser here. Right now we have leather. Very easy to use. You pop the protective cap off, and what gets the fragrances, it will be the wooden cap. Um, and then we have our snack bar, which is basically like a chocolate bar. You just don't eat it. But
That's gonna be like wow.
a lot of people have said, like, can we eat it? No, you cannot eat it. You might be able to. I don't know though. But it's the same thing. You break it apart and you just put them in the warmer, 3 to 4 hours max. Same thing.
If it wasn't meant to be eaten, then don't eat it.
Don't eat
Okay.
it. Then we do have our car diffuser refill. Um, Same thing. You already this one will last you about 4 to 6 months, depending on you. Some people have lasted them a week just because they like to play with it. This one you already have it in hand. You don't need to keep coming to me and telling me, "Hey, Maria, I need more." No, you already have it in your home, in your car. You just it's already measured properly and everything for you to just put it in your wooden on your car diffuser, and you're good to go. And then we have our new product, which is our room sprays. They last about 3 hours in the air, depending on you, but you will still smell it. But this is our brand new product that I had it in the works for 3 months, just because it does take a little bit longer to, I guess, to test regarding like how much do they last, measurements, and all that good stuff.
So what I'm hearing is that all these products that you have here on the table, this is your full line, right? What you offer at the
Yes,
markets.
that is my full line.
And one thing that I'm hearing that I want to be more specific and talk more about it is these products are actually clean, like other clean products. Because I mentioned you said something about having uh, these products out on the market from big companies that have probably a lot of chemicals that you don't even know what you're
Hmm.
smelling, right? So
Right.
what's the difference between this one and one I can go buy at the store?
So if you notice into the ingredients from other products, you will see a bunch of things, and some of them you won't even know how to pronounce them. So if
True.
you go to in our world right now, in the AI world, if you go into chat, you'll be able to see what kind of ingredients they have, and it will give you basically a rundown of this product is not good, this is not good, this is not good, and this one is good. So out of all those, let's say 5 ingredients, only
Mhm.
one of them is good. Soy
Wow.
wax. So with my wax melts, it's all 100% soy wax and a little bit of coconut wax, or sorry, beeswax, just to keep the firmness and the lasting of the wax melt. Um, Same thing with the liquids. It's just 2 ingredients: the base and the fragrance oil. There's nothing else that I can tell you. Oh, there's preservatives, anything like that. No, there's just the base and the fragrance oil.
So that makes me wonder, why would companies add preservatives to their fresheners or whatever you want to call them sprays, if you don't have them there and they last for 4 or 5 months, because I know I've had mine in my car and it still smells like the first, like how it smelled when I bought it the first day and I used it the first time. That smell's still there and it has no preservative. So why would make companies add them in there?
So a lot of the brands they use preservatives to expand the life of a product, or to keep the freshness. But you're adding something else that you don't need. Sometimes you just need two things, like me. You just need the base, fragrance oil, and it'll last you depending on how you use it, how you store it. So that's usually what a preservative does is you try to add something else to keep the life of a product, but you don't really need it as long as the person knows how to store it, use it properly, and
So how do I know, like when I go buy it from you at the market, is it something that it's like common sense how to use it, or you really like you give explanations, or because I've heard of stories of people that leave it on their cars and they like they drop it and then stain and stuff like that.
mhm.
So
So every product, I do try to give them a brief explanation on how to use it, just because each product is different. They're not all the same. So with the wax melts, it's gonna be soy wax. Soy wax is super sensitive to cold. So if you let it be there, it's gonna dry out super fast. And so if you just leave it there and you don't clean it, you're gonna have a hard time cleaning it off. It's been in my case. So it's you're gonna feel very not sticky, but it's very very soft, and it's gonna kind of like coconut oil.
so when you have it on your wax melt, like you put it on your wax melt, right?
Yeah.
And then you obviously you turn it on and let it melt
hmm
to get the smell on the air, and then when you're done, you're supposed to like pour it into the container.
You don't have to. If you have a container, you can just to kind of keep that freshness. But once you turn off the warmer, that fragrance is gonna kind of stop what it's
Mm,
supposed to do. So when you turn it off the next day, or let's say in a week, you still smell the fragrance. So
okay.
it you don't need, like, back to the preservative. You don't need that extra preservative because it's already, like, the soy wax already doing its job. Um, Same thing with the car diffusers. Car diffusers. If you leave it in the car, we tested them. It's not the base keeps the fragrance oil from exploding, getting too hot. It's keeping that fragrance oil to last longer than what it's supposed to. If it spills all on your dashboard or anywhere, you're gonna see a very faded spot if you don't clean it right away. So of course it's gonna cause damages. So so each fragrance has its what I guess strength. So if, let's say, with leather, it's a very strong scent, the concentration is gonna you're gonna see it right away. So if you don't clean it off, you're gonna have that faded spot. If you clean it right, like as soon as it lands on it, you're good. And I always tell people, if you touch anything or anything, just clean it off real quick, and you'll be fine. Um, the room spray, same thing. It's You can spray one or two sprays on your linens or anywhere in your house, and it's water based,
Okay.
meaning that it's gonna dry off. It's If you have kids, oh my god, kids, toddlers. I have a toddler, and he likes to crawl and then touch and everything, right? But we gotta be careful with kids because they slip. You don't
Hmm.
want that.
No.
So this is water based. It's gonna dry off. Nothing's gonna happen. But with the oil base, it's obviously you're gonna have the slip risk and all that stuff. But that's why, like, all these products have been tested so we can know, like, how it works with kids, with pets, and obviously with the humans.
That's pretty interesting because I honestly, when I see this at the market and when I see you selling them,
hmm
I never expected that you actually do that many tests, like to see how it worked, like with even with the pets. Honestly, never crossed my mind that that's something that you would actually do.
You have to. You have to, especially like with pets. Some of these pet lovers are very, very picky. When I say picky, they're They're lovers. But again, like kids have their sensitivities, allergies. A dog, cat, they do too. So
True.
anything with animals like oat and honey and milk, it's good for them. Lavender, it could be. Peppermint is not. So I always check on those things because I do have a lot of customers that come and like, is it pet safe? I'm like, yes. As long as you don't spray directly on
Yeah.
them, of course.
So
Um,
it's not a cologne or perfume for dogs.
yeah, so I mean, you can, which is funny. You can do it as a pet, but there's concentrations.
Okay.
So everything is
But this one is not specific for
this
that.
one is not specific for pets. It's just for your linens and your house
Okay.
and cars too.
That's very interesting. That's something that actually never even crossed my mind
Yeah.
when you think about like the products, because again you just see it at the market, right? And then you
Yes.
just go buy it for whatever it's being sold for.
Hmm.
But you actually see how important it is to talk to the business owners so you can understand
Know
the
the
different
behind the
parts
scenes.
exactly. It's very unique, right?
Yes.
Each business, how it starts and how you develop and how it goes for creating the products that you're selling, which is one of the things that we want to emphasize at this on this podcast, right? Is to show the experience of the behind the scenes of a business. So, what is your and how do you come up with the name of Texas Waxmelts, and what does it mean to you? Like, why is it? What was that the name?
Texas size wax melts came about. I I'm not from here, not from El Paso. I'm not from Texas, not from the United States, but I always lived in Texas. Never been anywhere else. But so I'm like Texas. So with the products back then, they used to be bars, like soap bars, and they're big, but people didn't understand what exactly that was. They thought it was soaps. So they would actually pick them up and they would like try to like wash their hands, and then some of them would come back to me and they're like, it doesn't do anything. And I was like, what are you doing with them? Like, what does it mean? What do you mean it doesn't work? And they're like, oh, I'm washing my hands with them. And I'm like, no. So that's the Texas was because of
The size.
the size of it. Um, but it means a lot to me just because obviously like I've been raised in Texas for forever. Um, I don't know, and that I just see a big product coming in. I'm not expecting it to be like a brand name, but I see my business going somewhere. Paso anywhere. And it's already crossing states. So that's what I was like, okay, my mindset is I need to make it Texas wide, like Texas big. So that's what it came about.
That's unique, right? With the name and mentioning crossing states, that means that people from other states are coming to get it from you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And if you don't know where El Paso is in the map, we're very close to New Mexico. So that's, it's easily said crossing states for us, but it goes beyond that because we have
Yes.
a lot more states nearby that
Yes.
come and actually get products. So actually, that's one thing that I've seen markets here in El Paso is that we have a lot of visitors that are not from El Paso
Yes.
buying the
Oh
products.
yeah.
And they always want to get your Instagram, they want to get your website because they want to keep ordering that. They like the small town vibe
Yes.
that El Paso gives because it's not small anymore. Like we
No.
haven't been
It's
to El Paso lately.
growing.
It's growing way too fast. In my opinion,
Yes.
but that's a different podcast. But today, like with that, of growing in the business growing, it's important to understand that the
Business.
the name of the business, right? It implies the specific portion of not only representing the size of your product,
Mhm.
but literally it's representing you,
But
right?
also you can think about it like the scents. The scents are huge. So if you start thinking about it, like Texas size wax melts, and then you put it in the warmer, you spray it, or you put it in your car, you're smelling this huge scent that you're like, wow. And that's what Texas is.
So
A wow.
you can have each of these products. Like I can have it for my house, for my car, and for my linens, for everything. Like the
Yes.
same smell.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
We do custom orders. So if you tell me, oh, I like the lemongrass and lime, I want it in this, and that, let's make it happen.
It just blows my mind because she remembers what I like.
Oh yeah.
I bought her like 4 or 5 months ago,
Oh
and she
yeah.
still remembers that I bought
Yeah.
that one. But that's very interesting that to see that the business is it's getting there right now. And right now you mentioned something that it really I want to go more in depth into, and you said like I don't think this is as a big brand, but I want to grow my business.
Mhm.
And with that said, when did you realize like wow, this business is actually happening?
So the market that kind of gave me to thinking like this can go somewhere is at the fountains. The Dia de los Muertos, it was an amazing market, and we had people line up to come and smell because they were like, we were trying to find where the smells were coming from, and we couldn't until like we came here and we like walked by and it was you. So I think that that's when it came about to like, okay, I need to expand myself and go to different markets, go to different sides of town because I'm only on the east side of El Paso or central El Paso. No, I need to go somewhere else to make sure that my brand is out there.
And that's when she came to PF Chang's Market. Just kidding.
Yes.
But
And I work around there, so yes.
so it's you mentioned something. It's about the markets, right? And a lot of people don't realize the market TP915. It's not just a market organizer.
Hmm.
We go beyond that,
Yes.
and the support that we're trying to provide small businesses, it's beyond the market that we organize. We go visit other markets. We've
Hmm.
been at the fountains, and we've have lives from the fountains and videos from there and
Yes.
uploading to our Instagram account. We've visited other markets, and we also do lives there or videos that we can upload to our account because this is building a community, right?
Right.
And we're happy that you're part of that community of vendors that support Market
I'm glad I'm
CP915.
part of them.
But it's something that it's really gonna get us to the next level as
Hmm.
a business. Um, as business owners, let me clarify that as business owners, because as we work together, that's really gonna get us closer and become bigger, right?
Yes.
A lot of people don't see us as small businesses, they just see you as a vendor at a
Hmm.
market,
Yes.
and it goes way beyond that. So, what is it that you enjoy about the El Paso market vibe?
What I enjoy the most is getting to know the people, getting to know customers. Some of them, I have one where he's like, I miss my state. I miss my city. Like, this is nothing compared to where I'm at. And from what I remember, he lived in a woodsy area. So pines, the cones, and all this, the humidity. And I was like, I've been there. I miss. I'm from Houston, I was raised in Houston, so I miss all the humidity, the beachy areas, and all that, right? So he made me think of like, oh my god, we're connecting at this point, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's what I enjoy the most is connecting with the other person in any type of way. When it comes to moms, they're like, oh no, like I want clean products, and I'm like, you have it here. Give me a chance to prove you're wrong. That way I can, so you can keep coming back. And sometimes, like, I give some of the stuff for free just so they can try me. And they've come back. So it's just getting to know putting yourself out there and proving people wrong because they compare me to to other brands, and I'm like, no, I'm nowhere near that. I don't ever want to compete with them. My products are better than theirs. So I think that's where what I enjoy the most is explaining to people, no, these products are different than theirs, connecting, getting to know my customers, how happy they are with my products, my neighbors, my vendor neighbors. Without them, you can't go to the restroom, by the way. So if you don't have an amazing vendor neighbor, you're gonna be standing there for 5 hours trying to go to the restroom.
Sure. Unless you go get the market organizer to
Oh
help you.
yes, that too. You need them.
So, and now you mentioned that, right? Like probably have some of our listeners that have never been to a market, either here in El Paso or anywhere. Like even if you're watching somewhere else in the world, like you, they probably haven't been to a market, or maybe their country doesn't have the markets like we have them here,
Hmm.
or the same way. So how would you explain, or why? How would you encourage them to attend a market? Why should people go to a market?
They should go. I think anybody has to go to a market. I never been to a market before I started my business, and I just started as a flea market o una pulga, como le dicen todos, una pulga. And my mom used to think the same way, like, oh, vas a ir a una pulga. No, it's not a pulga. It's a very fancy pulga, but no, it's a very fun environment. You get to see a lot of vendors, different products, clean to healthy. Like Aro, he's and his juices are amazing. Um,
Yeah.
Miss, what's the other name? Uh, the beef tallow lady. I don't even know her name, but it's the beef tallow lady at this
Well,
point.
there's plenty of beef tallow ladies in
Yes.
town, so
It's just many
one of
things
them.
or many vendors that you can see like they put so much love into their products. And
Hmm.
why not? Why spend so much money on products that you don't even know what they have when you
True.
can support local vendors or local businesses, and you will know where your money is going to. Unlike other brands, you don't know where your money is going to.
And not only that, but when you buy from a big store or a big brand, they don't know you bought from this, so they don't even know
Exactly.
you. But when you go to a market
You'll
and you
remember
buy
them.
from the vendor, sometimes they've been having such a hard day, and when you make that purchase, you make their day, and they'll remember you. So if you want to leave that memory on someone, if you want to make the difference, going to a market is the perfect way of doing that.
Yes, it is. I have one event where there was no one coming in. I was just like, I'm not, I'm just here. And it was sad because it was my first market of the day. And I just felt like, no, it's not going to happen. I just felt sad. My husband was upset because like we drove so far, and I was just like, it's okay. If we don't make it, we don't make it, right? And these like the couple came and they started smelling everything, and I just felt it as maybe they're feeling sorry for me. But no, like anything helps. Like here's a free sample. Just as long as you put yourself out there, it doesn't hurt to try. Honestly.
And not only that, but I don't see it as, people feel sorry that, because they don't know if you're sold or not, right? They just walking
Right.
by, so I don't see it like that. But it's important when we see the people walking through and browsing through the different
Mhm.
vendors that we have at the markets or at a market,
Yeah.
that it's crucial that, if you give it the 2 minutes just to listen to what they have, you may not need it that
That
specific
moment. Yeah.
moment, but for next time, the next weekend, they're gonna be there. So like, oh, I remember they had this scent or they
Mhm.
had this. Let me go back and try it.
And I had that, where they're like, "Oh, we saw you last week. Are you gonna be here next week?" And I always tell them like, "You can follow Markets-EP.4-TX, so you can know." And I always post it on my social media, right? And they're like, "Okay." Then they come back and they're like, "Thank you for letting me know, because now I'm here trying everybody's stuff."
Exactly, and that's how we support each other a lot in our markets, right?
Hmm.
Like the social media right now, it's big, and that's why we're doing a podcast.
Yes.
But it's part of the process of growing, right? And showing where the markets go and how the interactions with customers are important. So, what's one memory that you can remember from a face-to-face experience that really changed either your mind, changed the way you see your business, that had a really big impact?
Um, I had many, but I think the person that was from out of town kind of gave me that, I guess, that future mindset of I need to expand myself. Um, he was just he just looked very sad, and I was just like, you know what, like maybe I can make everything work. Uh, make I don't want to say make everybody happy, but it's just putting yourself out there.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. and you may think like this, and I might change your day today, but you may think that the smell is not a big thing, but if it wasn't a big thing, there's this big theme company that has a mouse as a mascot. Um, that they use something called smellitizers in their
Hmm.
on their rides and on their property to get you to buy things, to get you to remember their rides. And as you go through life and get that smell,
Hmm.
the first thing that comes to you is, oh, I remember when I went to this theme park,
Right.
and gets you there, right? So kind of like what you do with your products, because these are so small, like for example like the car diffuser, that I can actually take it with me
Hmm.
when we go like travel for business and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I bring a little piece of home with me because of the scent. It's going to remind me home all the time. So smells are a big thing, right? Just like Texas and the
Hmm.
Texas size
Yes.
wax smells. But it's important to not diminish how important smells are for the business, right?
Hmm.
For example, we're here at the Montserrat Cafe recording, and the smell of coffee is really good. The good thing is you're
Yes.
drinking one, but the coffee
It's
it's there,
strong.
right?
It's
It's strong, it's
good.
good, it's enjoyable,
Yeah.
and when you have that experience, like when I go smell other places, it brings me to
To
that
home.
specific
Yeah.
area. So it's always important to keep that in mind, and hopefully it's something that you keep doing for people, because I think that's gonna change a lot of
Yes.
lives.
And that's another thing that we want to do with the room sprays. These that one specifically is glass. So glass, if you put it in your car, you can break it, you can spill it, whatever, right? So we're trying to implement a plastic bottle where you can take anywhere, and we're trying to see like the TSA requirements and all that. That way you can travel with them instead of like, oh, let me just leave it or let me just throw it away because you spend money on it. You don't
Exactly.
want to throw anything away. So that's another thing that we want to do.
Awesome. So let's get to this question about if your business had a theme song, what would it be?
So I thought of two, but I think the one that like defines me is I don't know if you guys heard of it, but it's the Six Jobs. It's a rap song. It might be bad for some, it might be good for some, but literally when it says like I have six jobs, I can do it all, and then the other one started from the bottom because this came about as when I had no money, but I wanted to do something big, and I just let's make it happen. So I started very small, very bottom, and now I feel like we're up there. Not where I want to be, but it's up there already. It's out there, and that's all I need right now.
Good. Now, if you do on market morning market days,
Hmm.
do you prefer to start your day with coffee, agua fresca, or energy drink?
Energy drink for sure. Why? Because mornings. Who wants to wake up in the morning at 6 in the morning? I don't.
I do coffee, so I'm a coffee guy.
Coffee will not do anything for me.
Wow.
Right now, probably yes,
Good.
but after that, no.
So, actually, want to take this time to mention our sponsors for today's podcast. First of all, Montserrat Café Deliciosa for having us, record here, and for this delicious coffee that we're really enjoying. I'm doing the hazelnut. So in case you come here to their um, location, it's 2830 Yandel in their central El Paso. And actually, we're gonna have the at the here at the on the description or here on the screen. You're gonna be able to see the address for them, so that you can come and visit and really enjoy a coffee, and not only see us in enjoying it, but you can actually try it for yourself. We also want to give thanks to um, Innovex Engraving, because they did our cups and of course our sign here at the table. Thank you for your support, and also to Never Satisfied 915 for providing my shirt with our Market-EP 915 logo on it, and of course the Texas Waxmelts for being here today and not allowing us to get to know more about you and your business.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Now, as we move on our questions, right, for where we want to go, what is one thing that you always need to have with you when you go to markets?
The weights. Please, people, do not forget the weights. The weights in your tent, but mostly your weights are a huge part of your markets. Why? El Paso. El Paso has the most unpredictable weather I have seen.
Yes.
We started, there's one time, we started very, very nicely, and then all of a sudden, a big gust of wind just hit us. And
I
it
don't
did
know where.
damage. It did damage, and I feel
Yeah.
so bad for my my vendor neighbors. But weights, please, always, 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 and I recommend the water weights. Water weights are amazing, not the sand ones, the water weights, and
Mm.
those have come through for me a lot of times now.
Well, I've seen it all. And actually,
Yes.
when you mention about weights, that's very, very true. Because, and also having a good quality tent as well. Because, like you
Yes.
mentioned, with the winds, they come here in El Paso out of nowhere. I remember that day you mentioned it was back in January. We were at a market and it was really nice. The perfect weather. Everything was going so smooth. We had a lot of customers coming through. And out of nowhere, 2 hours into the market,
It just
this hurricane winds came out of nowhere. They were not even on the app. We were looking at the apps, and
it
the
was
weather apps
crazy.
wasn't even saying that there was wind. It was
Mhm.
like 0 miles per hour. Like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So that's when you cannot rely 100% technology, right? But it's important to have that. Now, what's the one thing that you like to share with people that are doing markets, so they're thinking about doing markets, that you know now, but you wish you knew when you were starting?
I think about I guess the products, what to get as far as like the tent, the weights, signage. Most importantly, I think you need to have that great mindset and the positive mindset that if you have a bad day or a slow day, it's okay. There's
Mhm.
always other days. There's always another market. That market might be the greatest market. You probably make $1,000. Who knows?
True.
But there's days where you will make just $1 or your vendor fee. So it's always great to have that great mind, the positive mind. Always come with the greatest smile because you never know who you will make an impact on.
True. And I want to go a little bit deeper into that because to me that's a very touchy um, topic.
Hmm.
And it's understanding that as a vendor, when you go to a market, a lot of people think they're free, and some are free, but most of them are not.
Yes.
There's a fee that goes into going to a market, and with that, a lot of vendors think that by going to a specific market, they're gonna do just great.
Yes.
I personally, with my business, been to markets where I actually lost money versus
Yes. Oh
getting
my
anything
goodness.
there.
Yes.
But it's part of the lesson. It's part of learning how to manage your business. And
Right.
when you do super good, like 'cause there's markets that I've done like, wow, like never expected this much
Hmm.
sales today. That kind of made for the ones that I didn't, right? So
Hmm.
once you put everything at the end of the year in a balance, it actually balances out
Right.
when you had those markets, because it's not just one. There's plenty that I can tell you, um, that we either sold just enough to make our vendor fee, or some we didn't even make our vendor fee, plus the effort, the time, gas to
Yes.
go there, all the things that go into a
Hmm.
market. When you take into account, actually, we lost money, and that's a risk you got to take as a vendor. And
Yes.
it's important for people that want to start doing this. Those are the risks that go with the business. Just like when the brick and mortar place opens, they don't know if they're gonna go do well or not. There's states that do super good. There's states that don't do so
Everything is a
good.
risk in this life.
Exactly,
Everything.
everything, right? But I want to make sure that that's always considered when people are wanting to
Hmm.
start their own business.
Yeah, I think with that, I had an experience with that. I paid almost $200 for for an event. I didn't make half of that. So people do have to understand that there's a risk that you make. My husband was upset. When I tell you he was upset because he expected like, oh, you're gonna make it back. You're gonna have competition, but you're gonna do amazing. Like all these products, they're clean, they're handmade, blah blah. No, the 1 hour, 2 hours, we were there for 8 hours. We did not make our money back, not even half of it. So that's where you're like now you're thinking, okay, I need to know which markets I need to go, which events I need to go. Now you start picking and choosing who you go to, what events you go to. So for me, big events are not for me, and that's an honest truth. Big events for me are not it. I pick and choose like who I go with, and it's always gonna be Market-EP.4-TX. But I do have others. So now with this, last year it was a huge, huge reality check for me. This year I'm more of a pick and choose your markets. That way you're not running that risk of losing money. So that's a little strategy that people have now.
Yeah. But it's kind of like also when you're starting, you cannot be the pick and choosing the
Right.
markets because you have to go find your niche, like where your niche is it's good at, right?
Yes.
So, like if you're starting, that's a great call out. Is that you need to make sure that you try different ones and don't just
Yes.
give them one opportunity. Because I'm gonna tell you this: I've been to markets with my business that I go 2-3 times back to back markets,
Yes.
like 1 week and then the 2 weeks later there's another one and then at the same place.
Mhm.
And each market it's different, it's unique, and I have never sold either the same items
Yes.
or the same amount of money. I can
Yes.
tell you that. And you know, one of them it's the Fountains Market.
Yes.
Because we've been last year we went a lot to that market, and it fluctuated very much.
Oh
Like
yes.
I couldn't tell a median right away because it was so
It
very
was up and down. It's a
exactly.
hill. Every market's
Every
gonna be on.
market is like that, and that's every single market. I can guarantee you, that will happen.
Yes.
And it's not because of the market organizers. There might be a lot of people at the market, but your product,
It's the one that
it's the
sells.
one that sells, and you're the one that make the sales. If you're behind the booth with your phone, not talking to people,
Not
not smiling,
engaging.
not engaging,
Yes.
I guarantee you're not gonna sell a lot. That's a given, right?
Those
So
videos that you see on YouTube, on what else? Instagram,
TikTok,
TikTok, anywhere you see where, oh, you do this, the do's and don'ts on the market, and you're like, just let them. Some people are actually good with you welcoming them.
hmm
Others are more of like, stay away from me. So you start seeing those patterns of like, oh, I want to be welcome, and then others are like, no, I'm just browsing, and you know, like that vibe. Some people are very like don't know what the vibes are, but you can kind of tell by their face, by their demeanor,
true.
who you're gonna talk to and who wants to be talked to.
And even just by greeting them,
Yes.
you
You say
know
hi,
if you should keep
hello.
talking to them or not. You know,
Yes.
in the greeting, everybody wants to be greeted.
Yes.
You know, there's that's a fact. Now we're gonna start. You know, going to closing our podcast, and I have two more questions that I want to ask you for sure. What advice would you give to vendors that want to start doing this for the very first time?
Do your research. Do your very own research. Do not rely on other people. When I started my business, I wanted to rely on somebody. That person did not give me the opportunity. I started my own research. Research is everything when it comes to your products. You're the only one that knows what you want, what you expect, what your future will look with your product. So that's the very, very first thing. The next thing will be a budget. Set yourself with a budget. Don't overbuy. That was a mistake I did. Overbuying products and then seeing that nothing was happening. But as I started going to markets, I saw what was selling, what was not selling, and that's how I started removing little things. So it would be the budget, the researching. Start small. It's okay to start small. You don't need to do this huge things. Start very small.
And also don't underbuy.
That too. Yeah.
You know, you gotta find that, and
That
that's
median.
that's
Yeah.
that's the name that's the small business comes from.
Yes.
Because that's how you start small. And if you know, like you say, if you in your research, if you go back to the big like McDonald's, like Walmart, they
start
all
small.
started very small and they
Yes.
grew into these huge
Mhm.
corporations now that we know.
And it's okay.
Exactly,
It's okay to
it's a
start small.
process.
Yes, it's a very huge process, and it's gonna be worth it at the end.
Exactly. So, anything that I haven't asked you that you want to share with our audience before we close out our podcast?
Come to Market EP 915.
Follow her advice. And actually, just so you know, by the when this goes on air, We're gonna have actually 3 markets going on. We're gonna continue having our PF Chang's Market every Saturday. So follow us on Instagram at Markets-EP.4-TX so you know exactly when those markets are gonna be at the times are running. We also excited to start our Food City Market. That's the first Saturday of every month, starting in April 4th. It'll be our first one, and then from there, every first Saturday of the month. And then we're going to have our Julio's on Joe Battle Market. So it's going to call the Julio's Market. We are the official market organizer for Julio's restaurants. And we're going to be doing it at Julio's on Joe Battle. And that's starting in April 12th. And then from there, every other Sunday. So we hope to see you there. Come shop local, support your local vendors. Thank you, Maria, for being here. Really enjoyed this
Thank you, thank you.
conversation.
I really enjoy explaining and getting to know more and how it works.
Awesome. So thank you so again for being here. And until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Bye.